Well, here we are again. G'day everyone. Welcome to another pre-weekend game interview here on Your Call. I'm Dan, obviously. And a very special one this week. We're running a bit of a special weekend here at Your Call. Obviously, tomorrow would have been ANZAC Day, the traditional ANZAC Day clash between Essendon and Collingwood at the MCG. About 100,000 people. The last post, the whole ceremony, all the diggers out there, going to the pub at 12 o'clock, having a few pints with them, playing a bit of two-up, and then making that trek. For myself, it was usually from the London Hotel, the London Tavern in Richmond. That trek from the London to the MCG with everyone else in your pies or your Essendon gear if you're one of those people. And heading into the MCG just in time for the last post and the whole ceremony. So sadly, as we all know, that's not happening this year. No game is happening for a while and hasn't been happening for a while. There have been no games, obviously, and we've had to sort of think outside the box here at Your Call, which we've been doing, and hence what we're doing tonight. So tomorrow at 12 o'clock, we'll be commentating the first ever ANZAC Day clash between Essendon and Collingwood. It was way back in 1995. So we'll be doing that one. Channel 7 are playing that one on their broadcast. So we'll be commentating that one from our respective couches tomorrow from noon. But tonight, before we do that, we have a very special guest, DJ Generik, otherwise known as AKA Tyson O'Brien. He's a Melbourne-born international DJ. And more importantly, he's a Collingwood supporter. That's arguably the main thing that we're looking for, especially here on Your Call. So we're just hanging out at the moment in, I guess we could say, the green room, pre-gig for an international DJ. We're just hanging out, waiting for Tyson to log on to his Instagram page and join our chat. And we'll be away momentarily, I guess. In the meantime, grab a drink, get comfortable. We'll be off in a minute for about a 10, 15 minute, 20 minute maybe chat with Tyson on all things Collingwood, what he misses about ANZAC Day, what he misses about footy in general, I guess, and the trials and tribulations of being an international DJ and how he juggles that with tuning into the footy every weekend. I'm sure it's hard. Nowadays we have obviously the AFL app, which is a very handy resource for people who are international DJs, but also people who, for some reason, have a wedding on the weekend. So it's proved fruitful, I think, for a lot of people. And I'm hoping it's proven fruitful for Tyson. Is this enough padding? How much more padding will Dan need to do before DJ Generik, Tyson O'Brien, joins the podcast? It's not really a podcast, Instagram story, Instagram live chat, I think is more what we're going for here. You call it a podcast. Podcast is an umbrella term for what we're doing here at Your Call. It's easy to describe. I mean, the elevator pitch is, it's Gogglebox for footy. I think that's pretty safe to assume. And on cue, as you'd imagine, on cue, because that's what he does for a living, he has joined the chat. And in a few moments, DJ Generik, aka Tyson O'Brien, will be joining us here on Your Call. And there he is, the great man.
G'day, mate. What's happening?
G'day. How are you?
I'm good. Just lounging around.
Welcome to Your Call, my friend.
It's good to be here.
Now, before we go any further, the first thing we need to get out of the road, obviously, isolation has probably proven a bit tricky for you as an international DJ. I assume it's affected your life in a big way. Tell us about it.
Yeah, well, I don't have a job at the moment, so like most Australians, but
yep,
and most people around the world. But yeah, it's normally I'd be playing in Las Vegas at this time and gearing up to be heading to Ibiza for the summer, but or winter, our winter, their summer.
Yep.
But at the moment, it's just home time on the couch, making music, working on music, and doing a few drunk live streams every now and then.
I was going to mention that. I noticed the decks in the background. That's become sort of your makeshift studio for this quarantine period.
Yeah, definitely. It's still just nice to be able to play music and get that creative sort of urge out. So other than work when I make music as well, just at home. But yeah, it's good fun. And usually I just do it for my mates. So half the time we'll just be on a Zoom call and just DJ for the blokes sitting around at home having beers on a Saturday afternoon or whatever. But yeah, you never know. I might even do it tonight if I have enough red wine.
Hey, absolutely. We're all for that. And you mentioned, hanging out with mates and on a Saturday afternoon. Normally, tomorrow, I think wherever you would be in the world, you'd normally be preparing to watch the Pies hit the MCG against the Bombers.
Yeah, indeed, man. Like I used to, when I lived in LA the last 4 years, it was on some strange times, like especially Collingwood having all the night games. So it'd be usually 2:50 a.m. starts. So that's a hard one because you don't know if you should go to bed early, wake up, stay awake because the game finished about 5:30, or if you should like just stay up. And most of the times, just stay up and it involved alcohol, so therefore it'd be quite a fun game. But then the problem is you wouldn't remember really who won or lost, so you'd have to watch the replay anyway, which in theory I could have just done in the first place. So that was quite funny. But no, I actually went to the ANZAC Day last year, which was amazing. So it was amazing win, but very important special day, and I was lucky enough to go with Swanee. So it was an amazing day at footy.
Great. A few questions I've got about that, I guess. The first one was that. I mean, given that you're not really in Australia that much, was that the first or one of the few that you've been to?
I've been to 2 games in the last 2 years, and one was ANZAC Day, and the other was the grand final. Yep. So
okay.
Yeah, I was also starting to think that maybe I'm a jinx.
Yeah.
The club.
Yeah.
Which is
please stop going.
Yeah, but we won on ANZAC Day, so maybe I've turned it around.
Yeah, so but honestly, out of those 2, I'd probably pick the grand final.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So I haven't been able to go to the footy. So when I came back to Melbourne, I was wrapped and stoked to be able to go. But such is life. There won't be any crowds, but hopefully the game can get back soon and jump on the couch and watch and support the boys when footy returns. Yep.
So, and you mentioned, last year you went with Swanee. There's obvious questions there, but I guess more importantly, any insights, any sort of things that he mentioned about, because ANZAC Day was one, he had a few quiet ANZAC Days, and then there was one year he silenced the critics, let's just say. So what was the chat on the day?
It's just more I just sit there and ask him questions about everything, and he loves talking footy, so it's great. But it was really interesting. I watched the Collingwood thing with Pendles and Swanee the other day, and it was like he did have a fair few quiet ones, and then sort of really then killed it. Won a few medals and kicked a few bags and brought it home for us. So yeah, it was just like when you're watching with like a professional footballer, they just know what's going on.
Yeah.
I don't. I played on the PlayStation. That's about as good as footballer as I am. Yep. So it's just the running patterns, and they know how the game's developing and what's going on, and I'm really just a fan and just loved it. So it's just good insight. It's kind of like having a cheat sheet in like an exam where they just know what's going on, so you tell them. It's great.
And you probably walked away with a better understanding of the game, and and able to sort of brag to your mates. Oh yeah, they're doing a switch zone here. That's called a switch zone.
Yeah. To be honest, I was pretty pissed by the end of the game.
Yeah.
I had a really good time. We're in the corporate box, so it was a bit of fun, and bumped into Chris Tarrant and Andrew DiMartino, and then ended up at Tiglo having cocktails. So it was a fantastic night. The flight to Los Angeles the next day wasn't too good, but it was good. Good time.
Good. It was on a very quick flight or a very long flight. Could have gone either way, really. Yeah.
Well, I slept the whole way, so that was nice.
Oh, good. Yeah. I'm glad you said that, because I was talking to Danny and I. Not sure how familiar you are with your call, but we commentate the game from our couch every weekend. So you're talking about you just came back to Melbourne this year and you're all excited for the footy. We only started this last year, so in Feb we're like, we're ready to go. We know what works, we know what doesn't work. The pub's good, doing it at the couch works. And then round 2, like, we're going to have to figure something out. So, but we were talking about it yesterday about ANZAC Day, and I'm the same. ANZAC Day especially, it's a day that usually, I've been to a few of them, and it's always an earlier start, because you go to the pub at probably about 10 in the morning, let's be honest, have a beer with all the diggers, and you play a bit of 2-up, and then by the time you're at the game by 2:30, you're already sort of on your way. So I've been to a few ANZAC Day games. How they end, I'm not really confident on that. And even when people say, how about 2014? Was that the Swanee one? Yeah, okay, I remember that one. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. It's just good to be able to have that sort of camaraderie with your mates, go to the footy, which is great. Yeah. And then on that special day as well is awesome. So it's even better. It's a stronger bond that you've got. And I just love the fact that we play on it and it's our day. So it's fantastic that the rivalry's been built up, and I wish that we could all be watching the game this weekend. It'd be great.
Yep. I agree. Take us back to the very beginning. Why Collingwood? Not that you need a reason, but why Collingwood?
I didn't have a choice. It was Dad, so it was just straight away Collingwood. I'll be honest, I defected for a year. We weren't going very well. I was quite young. I think maybe Tony Shaw had just been fired, something around that period. Yep. And my cousin went for the Bulldogs, older cousin, and they were going quite well. So Dad actually got me a flag and took me to a few games. And then at the end of the year, he goes, okay, you've had your year going for the Dogs. Do you want to go for Bulldogs or Collingwood? And I said the Dogs. And he goes, okay, we've got to go live with your auntie. And I didn't like my auntie very much. And I was very happy living at home. So I went back to Collingwood, and I'm very, very much glad I did.
Yeah. That's a heavy ultimatum. I mean, it depends on how you feel about your family, but wow.
Yeah, definitely. And my children will be getting the exact same ultimatum. That's for sure. Yep. It's you bleed black and white.
Absolutely. I've always said the first thing, if my significant other, the first day we find out that she's pregnant, I'm down at the Holden Centre, getting that black and white onesie. That's it. That's the first thing I'll do.
Straight to the merch store.
Yeah,
amazing.
Exactly. So I guess it's been a good decision. I mean, apart from the Dogs did okay in 2016, but you've been pretty happy ever since, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. Very, very happy.
Yeah. And so tomorrow, now that you can't be at the game tomorrow, we're commentating the game. Channel 7 are playing the 1995, the first one.
Fantastic.
So are you going to tune into that one?
Yeah, definitely. I haven't been watching much TV, so it's I didn't know that was on, so it's fantastic news.
There you go.
But thank you very much for that. I appreciate that. And Welcome. I'll be sitting down and watching, and might even have to flick across to get your commentary.
Yeah, please do. Now, being the fact that you mentioned, you've had to sort of juggle streaming and tuning into games at weird hours around the world, how has it gone with explaining the game to people in, probably maybe more so the US? I know it's a hard thing. How have you gone with that?
It's impossible.
Yeah.
We used to watch with a friend of ours, Connor. He's like a British guy, and he had no idea. It was really bad, and I'm not that articulate, so I couldn't really break it down. So you kind of just basically, all you're essentially doing, or all essentially I was doing, was commentating what was happening.
Yep.
So I'm like, well, he's kicking it now, and he's marked it, and you're not actually saying why that happened. So
no.
It's easy to tell the scoring system. It's like 6 points through the middle, 1 point for getting it close.
Yeah.
And that's all right. But then, it's quite difficult, and Americans aren't. They just don't get it at all. But they love watching it because of the big hits and the skills. So from that aspect, like, people liked watching it around us, but they had no idea what was going on. And like, quite often I'd be like in Vegas in the club. I'd finish playing, and I'd be watching the footy on my phone, and like, people be asking me like, what's going on, and they're very interested and they like to watch, which was also bizarre because they should have been dancing to the music or watching someone else DJ. But
and there's always, like, I remember going to a game with, I think there was a mate of mine had two students or people from France. Anyway, they came to the game. And you spend the whole 3 hours trying to explain it. And the thing that we found was, like, all the rules are so contradictory to each other. You'd say, oh, you can't push in the back. And then half an hour later, someone will push in the back, but it'll be a free kick to the other team. They go, oh yeah, you can push in the back then, but if the sun is setting in the east, it's actually okay. And it's a nightmare.
Yeah, it's quite a complicated game. That's why we're such massive fans of it.
Yeah. Yep. And so tell us about 2018. You came back for that one. We obviously know how that ended, but how did that come about? Were you back in Melbourne, or did you come back on
No,
purpose for it? Because
I wasted a lot of money and came back just for
yeah,
that game, pretty much. So we're watching the Collingwood-Richmond game. Was with mate Ando. We were having a great time. It was party time central. We're going off, and Sam Fisher from St Kilda had told me when I was with him in Vegas that if we made the grand final, he could get me a ticket. I'm like, awesome. So I took him up on the offer. I booked my flights while my girlfriend was asleep in bed. And next morning, I'm like pretty hungover, told her, yeah, I'm going to the footy. And she's like, that's in Melbourne. And I'm like, yeah, I'm only going to be gone for like 2 days. It's going to be fine. So I flew out to Melbourne, landed in the morning of the grand final parade, had lunch with my mate. Ended up being a long lunch. And then from there, the disaster of the grand final happened because Sam had been out the night before and didn't leave the ticket for me and told me to go collect it from AFL House, except it wasn't there because no one was at AFL House. They were all at the grand final. So I had to go to the ground, find a ticket box. The ticket had been collected, but it wasn't collected. Had to get Sam to call the lady at the gate. Eventually got my ticket, and then the rest is here. And also, it was in the middle of the West Coast area too, so I was the only Collingwood supporter there.
Yeah,
that wasn't great. And then, so that's and now you.
Sorry, mate. I know. I agree, but I hate to bring that up. But that might have been the footy gods. The footy gods might have been trying to tell you something. Don't go in.
Yeah. And the first thing, like my girlfriend's. Oh, and the worst part was like I got home and I was like pretty dejected, like as you can imagine.
To LA, not just like
no. So got back to. I was staying with my parents, so I went back to my parents' house. They were overseas, so no one was in the house. I went down to my local fish and chip shop, and they burnt my fish and chips, and I was watching TV like while I was eating my chips, and I realised I'd been like watching TV for 20 minutes, but the TV wasn't turned on. I was just like in another world. And then I'm like, what am I going to do? Everyone was saying come out, and I didn't really want to go out, so I went to bed. Woke up at like 4 a.m. the next morning, and naturally all my mates were hungover or not doing anything, so I didn't really get to see anyone. And I'd been awake the entire day, and then I left. So it was a really depressing trip. When I got back to LA, my girlfriend goes, "Oh, was that worth spending like all those thousands of dollars to go and do it?" I'm like, "Yeah, no, it wasn't." No. So I could just watched it, but
yeah.
Oh well.
Oh man, it's that, and that's. But what my opinion is next time, which hopefully is this year maybe, but next year definitely, when we do win it, that angst, I guess, it all builds up, it all adds to it. You'll burn Vegas down when we win the flag because it's all this pent up, energy from that.
No, I won't be burning Vegas down. I'll be there. I will be at the ground. I'm not missing it. I can't. I missed 2010 because I had to play the music festival on the replay, so I missed that. And I went to a losing one, I think in 03. Dad gave me his ticket, so I've got to see a winning one.
Yeah,
I must.
It's tough. I remember meeting Bob Murphy at a pub towards the end of last year. Actually, no, I think it might have been just after we retired. We're talking about it, and we're talking about Collingwood and whatnot. No, sorry, it was just after the 2018 grand final. I told him there was a Pie supporter, and he said, in no uncertain terms, he said, "Yeah, it's a cunt of a game."
Yeah, it really is.
Hard to argue with that.
Yeah, it's true words have never been spoken. It's yeah.
Oh well. Onwards and upwards. Mate, before we go, you saw that we did a bit of a remix, or we put a bit of a music video together for your remix of the Collingwood theme song. When can we expect the single? What's the plans for that?
Basically, I'm putting out. I've got another project I'm working on. It's like stoner chill music, under the guise of Satin Hands.
Satin Hands, okay.
Yeah. So that's what I'm working on at the moment because I'm putting off actually making proper songs, which I should be doing. So I'm even procrastinating and being in my easy job. So yeah, but no. So that mix that the drill versus the Collingwood theme song.
Yeah.
That was actually done by my mate Ando for the 2010 grand final. We just bootlegged it, and we played it about 4 or 5 times. And
Awesome.
I think it was a couple of years ago. There was the Collingwood boys did their 2010 reunion, and I was DJing at the Emerson, so I played it a couple of times because all the boys were in there. It was good. It's the closest thing I've ever got to winning a grand final. So they're singing it with a couple of players, so that was good.
Oh, unreal. Well, it was when that game happened, when they were all dancing around. As soon as Geordie did these ones, I was like, oh, it's gotta happen. So
it's a good vibe.
So it's great vibe. So thank you for that.
I did like that in the winning circle afterwards. That was a good vibe. The boys were going off. It was awesome.
I think if there's any silver lining of this whole thing, I'm all for that being the normal thing.
Yeah, I think it's probably the best theme song singing version ever outside of a grand final. It was awesome. It was vibe.
Yep. No, if that was how it is from now on, I'm all good with that.
Yeah, indeed. Go Pies.
Absolutely, go Pies. Tyson, aka DJ Generik, thank you very much for your time. Any hair tips as well? I was going to ask you, you and Brody, do you guys swap any hair tips?
No, I should probably ask him though. I want to know how he does that bun thing. I'm not very good at tying my hair, so I think I'd have to learn that. But
especially doing a bun when you're playing footy, like that's a serious hold.
It stays there, and does he redo it at half time? Like a lot of questions need to be asked.
Yeah. Well, hopefully, if we get him on, I'll be sure to be the first question I ask him.
Excellent.
Mate, it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much for joining us and taking time out of your very busy schedule at the moment.
It's hectic, real hectic.
Mate, have a glass of wine and get on the decks, and we'll be sure to push everyone to your page if that ends up happening tonight. But sadly, you can't see the game tomorrow. But I guess tune in from 12 o'clock. We'll be commentating here on your call, and they'll be having it on Channel 7 as well. So. Mate, thank you again. You're a great sport, and go Pies, and we'll talk to you soon.
Anytime, mate. Good luck with the call tomorrow. Peace out.
Thanks, mate. Cheers.
Ciao.